Throughout the history of mankind, we have witnessed many great thinkers and great minds in a variety of disciplines. The great thinkers of today actually stand on the shoulders of the great minds from yesteryears. This is how society and civilization advances through the ages. In this video, we will examine the 10 greatest minds in the history of mankind. Not only will you learn who these people are, but also what wonderful contributions they made to the world. Number 10, Madame Curie. Born in Poland, Marie Curie was a physicist, a chemist, an inventor, and a philanthropist. Her family moved to France to escape Russian control of their homeland. After having numerous major accomplishments in her life, one of her most notable was the discovery of radium and polonium. She originally coined the phrase radioactivity and pursued using it as a potential cure for cancer. She was also the first woman in history to win the Nobel Prize for her work in physics and radioactivity. Later, she became the first scientist to win a second Nobel Prize. This one was for her work in chemistry as she discovered radium. There have been others who have won 2 Nobel Prizes, but she is still the only one to have won them in 2 different fields. Number 9, Michelangelo. Michelangelo was an Italian sculptor, painter, architect, poet, and engineer during the Renaissance age. His work had a tremendous influence on the development of Western art. As with many great minds, his accomplishments were numerous. As a sculptor, his famous pieces known as the Pieta and David are still considered to be the most extraordinary pieces of work today. Even though he considered himself a sculptor, his painting on the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel are among the greatest pieces of art of any artist in all of history. Number 8, Archimedes. Archimedes of Syracuse was an ancient Greek mathematician, physicist, engineer, inventor, and astronomer. Although few details of his life are known, he is still regarded as one of the leading scientists in classical antiquity. Archimedes was the first person to actually use applied mathematics to describe the physical world. For instance, he discovered the laws of levers and pulleys, which today allow us to move very heavy objects with smaller forces. Archimedes was also the first to use exponents in mathematics to write and define larger numbers. Along with that, he also defined most laws of exponents that are still used in mathematics today. He is probably most known for inventing outrageous war machines that prevented the Romans from capturing Syracuse for many years. Number 7, Mozart. Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart was a prolific and influential composer of the classical era. Mozart showed incredible ability from his earliest childhood. Already competent on keyboard and violin, he composed from the age of 5 and actually performed before European royalty. Remarkably, he wrote his first symphony at age 8. He went on to compose over 600 different works. Among them were symphonies, concertos, operas, and most of them have been recognized as pinnacles of their genre. Incredibly, these achievements were reached within his short life of 35 years, as he suffered an early death from kidney failure. Had he lived a normal lifespan, there is no telling how many more creations he would have shared with the world. Number 6, Tesla. Nikola Tesla was a Serbian-American inventor, electrical engineer, mechanical engineer, physicist, and futurist, who is best known for his design of the modern alternating current electrical supply system. Tesla gained experience in communications and electrical engineering before immigrating to the United States in 1884 to work for Thomas Edison in New York City. His accomplishments were many, as he had close to 300 patents under his name in 26 different countries. His most famous achievement was creating the alternating current induction motor. Tesla won the famous battle of electrical currents against Edison, as his alternating current design is presently used today to power the world's cities. Tesla also created the first remote control and helped create the first hydroelectric plant. as well as the first X-ray. Number 5, Aristotle. Aristotle was a Greek philosopher and scientist born in Macedonia on the northern periphery of classical Greece. At the age of 18, he joined Plato's Academy in Athens and remained there until the age of 37. His writings led to the first comprehensive system of Western philosophy, which includes views about morality, logic, science, politics, and metaphysics. This system became the supporting pillar of both Islamic and Christian thought. It is even said that he was possibly the last man who had knowledge of all the known possible fields in the world. These contributions toward all subjects has made Aristotle one of the most famous and top personalities of all time. Number 4, Galileo. Galileo was an Italian physicist, a mathematician, an engineer, an astronomer, and a philosopher who played a major role in the scientific revolution during the Renaissance. He made significant improvements to the telescope, which led to extraordinary astronomical observations. Galileo has been called both the father of modern physics and the father of modern science. His achievements were quite numerous. To begin with, his observations of Venus proved that the sun was the center of the universe and not the earth. He also discovered the 4 large moons of Jupiter. Galileo invented the thermoscope, which paved the way for the invention of the thermometer. He also invented a more precise military compass, and his Galilean invariants laid the groundwork for both Newton's laws of motion and Einstein's theory of relativity. Number 3, Isaac Newton. Sir Isaac Newton was an English physicist and mathematician who is widely recognized as one of the most influential scientists of all time. His book, Principia, laid the foundations for classical mechanics. Newton's 3 laws of motion has had more impact on science than any other piece of work. These laws led to the treatment of gravity as a universal force, led to the discovery of planets, and ultimately led to space travel. He also made huge developments in the field of mathematics as he discovered calculus, which can solve many problems of science, economics, and engineering that algebra cannot. Newton also conducted groundbreaking work in the field of optics. He created the reflecting telescope and was the first to break light rays down to colors using a prism. Number 2, Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein was a German-born theoretical physicist. He perhaps contributed more than anyone in the development of our world. His 4 Annus Mirabilis papers, which were released in 1904, laid the foundation of modern physics and changed our views on space, time, mass, and energy. His work provided empirical evidence of atomic theory and the existence of atoms and molecules. He also determined the size of molecules and verified Avogadro's number. Einstein proposed the theory of relativity and the special theory of relativity. He created the famous mass-energy equivalence through his equation, and his debates with Niels Bohr led to quantum mechanics. Finally, Albert Einstein was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1921. And finally, the greatest mind of all time was none other than Leonardo da Vinci. Leonardo da Vinci was the leading figure of the Italian Renaissance, who more than anyone else in history represents a person that had more expertise in a wide variety of areas than anyone. In science, he is credited with several inventions and discoveries. For instance, he invented a tank 400 years before it became a reality. He designed a mechanical knight, which was known as Leonardo's robot. He designed a precursor to the modern diving suit. He conceptualized the parachute, the helicopter, and landing gear. In anatomy, Da Vinci conducted the most detailed study of the human body ever conducted before the 20th century. This study led to several discoveries in the field of anatomy. In art, Da Vinci was considered to be one of the greatest painters of all time. He created perhaps the most famous painting in all of history, which was the Mona Lisa. If you learned something new from my video, then subscribe to my channel right now. Let me know which of these 10 greatest minds in history you found most compelling and interesting. Leave a comment with your thoughts below.